Hey guys! Today I'm going to show you how to draw and paint a watermelon slice. Believe it or not, it only took me under 10 minutes to paint one of these slices, and the method that I show in this tutorial is super easy. Let's get into it, shall we? For today's tutorial, I'm going to be using the Sublime Watercolor pack and the cold pressed canvas that is included in the pack. Everything will be linked below. First of all, we're going to start the sketch, so I'm going to grab a 6B pencil from the sketching category and pick out a light gray. That seems to look good, so let's just start the sketch. You want to start with a rough triangle shape, and since we're not going to be using the sketch in the final painting, it doesn't have to look perfect, so feel free to be very rough with it like me here. And it's going to look a bit 3D, so I'm just going to draw the side of the watermelon like this. I'm going to erase some of these extra pencil lines that don't really need to be there. Now that the sketch is done, I'm going to make a new layer so that we can start to paint. Let's go to the Sublime Watercolor pack and we'll pick out the bold rough brush for the majority of this tutorial. Now let's pick out a green for the skin of the watermelon. This one is a bit too grassy green, so let's go to the yellow. This green looks okay, so let's go with that. And we'll bring down the size of the brush a little bit and start to paint the outer layer of the watermelon. After you color the skin, let's go to the color wheel and pick out a lighter green, almost like a light yellow, and start to color in the inner rim of the watermelon, just a little bit like this. Doesn't have to be like a large area, just the edges of the watermelon. Now, I was thinking of making a new layer, but I changed my mind. Let's go with one layer for this tutorial to make it easy. Using the same brush, let's start coloring the watermelon now using red. It's a cross between a orange and a red, so it's like a salmon red. So let's just start coloring the top of the watermelon first, like the center of the watermelon. And of course, we have to color the side. Next, we'll pick out a slightly lighter red and color the bottom portion of the watermelon. When we eat a watermelon, the colors tend to lighten when it gets closer to the skin. So I just wanted to kind of portray that in this painting, make the top more bold and the bottom light. Once everything is colored, we'll use the basic blender to blend out all of these overlaps and lines. When blending out this green part, it's best to blend very carefully so that we keep the rigid shape of the skin. And so I only blend the inner side of the watermelon like this with a tapping motion. Next, we'll blend out the light green portion right here. It's best to blend in this order in small motions so that we don't lose some of these important pigments. Finally, we'll blend out the red portion. Everything has been well blended, but I want to make the skin have more structure, so I will draw an outline here using a darker green, and I'm using the bold rough brush again. And don't worry, I'm going to blend this outline after it's drawn because I want to make it look more natural, like real watercolor. It's not really ideal to have outlines in a watercolor painting, right? So let's blend that out now. Next, we'll grab the watery edge brush. This brush looks like this. It's like the edges of a dried watercolor painting. So we'll use this on the bottom portion of the watermelon skin. Oops, that was an eraser. So let's draw some marks that we see on a watermelon. I'm going to grab a darker green and just draw some random lines like that. Now let's go back to the inner portion of the watermelon. I'm grabbing the red that we used and using the bold rough brush again and painting over the top of the watermelon again. As I've said before, watermelons tend to have that bold color in the center, so I'm going to paint over that area one more time, just a little bit. As for the side, I want to get a darker red. That wasn't dark enough, so I'm going to grab something that's a little darker and paint along the top. As always, let's blend that out. At this point, you could be done, but I'm going to grab a darker red and get the watery edge brush again and paint some lines here and there just to show that this watermelon is not just one solid color. I just want to kind of show that this is a watercolor painting. Then you can make a new layer and grab a dark brown or a black, and we'll get the bold medium brush for this. And I'm going to start drawing in some seeds. Seeds look like little teardrops, so you can just draw in some seeds here and there. So that's it, guys. That was a super easy tutorial, right? If it is watermelon season where you live, hope you guys are enjoying this refreshing fruit and having a great time. If you have enjoyed this tutorial, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.